There was an idea floated by the club, we will give you a new contract. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
When Paul Mitchell came in as sporting director last summer, he said, actually, no, you've got 4 years left on your contract. I don't believe right now it's in the best interests of Newcastle United to offer you a new contract. So therefore, I'm going to withdraw that. And I think that is the foundation for a lot of the frustration and hurt that Alexander Isak and his people feel with regards to that negotiation that started and then was halted rather abruptly. And I think that has been lingering for the last 12 months. Eddie Howe has played a blinder as far as I'm concerned. He's got the side focused and ready for a brand new Premier League season. They've added 4 exceptional players. And he's made it quite clear, publicly as well, that, Alex, we want you in our squad. I want you to play for Newcastle United. I want you to be a part of things moving forward, but it has to be on our terms. Newcastle United is bigger than you. It's bigger than all of us put together. And therefore, the values of this football club are crucial for us when you talk about potentially wanting to leave or not being happy or agitating for a move or putting stuff on social media. The football club always comes first and the fans come first. And that's vitally important. And I think the way Eddie Howe has played it has been absolutely perfect in the most difficult and challenging of circumstances. Does he want to be in a position where his leading goal scorer, his main man, the man that's going to fire them to silverware and Champions League glory, is not even in the squad training?
He said he still wants him.
Of course. Eddie Howe wants him. The players will want him. They may be frustrated. There may be some of them that are frustrated, but ultimately they will understand his position and what he wants. And I think that this is where it becomes a real challenge now, because you've got the fans that are clearly not on side. But I think all of this can quietly go into the background if he is still there on September the 2nd, which I believe he will be, and they can start to focus on moving that team forward.
Okay, from what we're hearing, from what we're reading, from what we're hearing from both of you guys, the replacements are going to be key here, aren't they? Right. So where are Newcastle with any potential replacements right now?
Right. So picking up on what we've talked about Wissa, but when you're saying replacements,
but they need more than Wissa, don't they?
Well, when you're talking replacements potentially for Alexander Isak. We think that the Wissa deal, if it does go through, despite the craziness we're hearing about this one tonight, he would actually be a replacement for Callum Wilson, who left Newcastle United at the end of his contract and is now at West Ham United. But how do you end up replacing somebody like Alexander Isak, which is why this is dragging on and on and on until the end of the transfer window? Because as we said, the two big elements in this, they need replacements and they need the fee that they believe Alexander Isak is worth to be met. So the irony of this is that Newcastle United went for Hugo Ekitike. He ended up going to Liverpool. And in ending up going to Liverpool, Liverpool actually made it more difficult in a way for them to get Alexander Isak, because he could have been a potential, well, they wanted him to play alongside Isak, but he could have been a potential replacement for Alexander Isak. They also went for Benjamin Sesko. Now, you can't blame Newcastle United for how they approached that one. They really went for it. Their actual initial outlay, what they were willing to pay RB Leipzig, was higher than what Manchester United were prepared to pay. This wasn't about Benjamin Sesko snubbing Newcastle United. This was about Benjamin Sesko choosing Manchester United. He had his heart set on going to that club, and Manchester United were only going to come in for him once they got the encouragement from the players' camp that he wanted to come. Newcastle United did nothing wrong there. It was just one of those things. So who's left? There's talk of Ollie Watkins, but then if Aston Villa were even to decide to go into the market to sell Ollie Watkins, they would need to bring in a replacement. Now, we're hearing this evening that we're talking about dominoes, it's all happening at the moment, that they are exploring the conditions of a deal for the Chelsea striker, Nicholas Jackson. That would make sense because Nicholas Jackson made his Villarreal debut. No, maybe not made his debut, but he played under Unai Emery when he was at Villarreal. How they would try and do a deal for Nicholas Jackson, because we know that Chelsea would want upwards of 60, 70, 80 million pounds for him, and Aston Villa, we know they can't go that big on any striker unless maybe somebody left. So is the Ollie Watkins potential deal going to rear its head again? The other one, of course, I've mentioned Nicholas Jackson. Newcastle United have also kept an eye on Nicholas Jackson as well. that would be an easier deal to do than the other ones, because we know that Chelsea are willing to sell and that Nicholas Jackson is looking to explore all of his options. So it is much more easier said than done. And the problem there is Newcastle United will look at all of the potential availability of these strikers. Can they do the job that Alexander Isak can do?
No, not many
Big
can.
question.
Might need two of them, that's the issue.
Yeah.
Almost irreplaceable. He's almost irreplaceable, and the players that Newcastle felt like could potentially be good enough to replace him have all gone to other clubs, and that makes it a real challenge. The one thing I'd like to finish on with the Newcastle scenarios, I actually think they've had an exceptional window. I actually think if you take away the noise around Alexander Isak and the fact they've missed out on a couple of players, they have done brilliant business. No chief exec, no sporting director. Andy Howe has stepped up to the plate. They've improved the goalkeeping department with the signing of Aaron Ramsdale. They've got Jacob Ramsey in as a replacement for Longstaff, 30-year-old for a 24-year-old, someone that can play wide left and a left eight. You've got Anthony Elanga, who's come in for Miguel Almiron, who brings Premier League experience. His assists last season were sensational, and pace to burn and energy and enthusiasm for that side. And when you look at those players, as well as Malik Thiaw, one of the best defenders at AC Milan, one of the best defenders in Serie A, they've actually had an exceptional window where they've signed really good quality players that have improved their starting 11.
So is the Isak situation completely overshadowed?
I think so. I think people are talking about one player only who wants out of the football club when you've got all of these other players that are desperate to go and play. Darmesh mentioned it. Yoane Wissa has his heart set on playing for Newcastle United. That may or may not transpire to happen. However, he wants to go and play for Eddie Howe. There are players that want to be up in the northeast because of the type of football they play, how exciting they are to watch, the fact they've got Champions League football, the fact that the fan base is so passionate about their football club and their players. And I think all of the noise around Isak has left people forgetting all of the good work that they've done throughout the course of this summer, and that will be a real frustration for Eddie Howe. But I think give it a couple of weeks' time and the transfer window slams shut and the players that are there and they get the season going, eventually they'll all realise that actually the most important thing is Newcastle United. This is a football club with ambitious owners that have invested heavily. This is a destination football club, not a stepping stone. They have spent huge sums of money on the training ground, on the team, and trying to create a side that can compete. And they've done that. Last 12 months, silverware in the cabinet, Champions League football 2 of the last 3 years. This is an exciting time to come to this football club, and the owners will be saying, talk about how great we are, not about someone who wants to leave.
Yeah.
South American football never fails to deliver drama, and this time it's Brazilian goalkeeper John Victor making headlines. In a shocking twist, Victor has turned down a move to the Premier League with West Ham, and now the door could be wide open for a sensational move to Manchester United. According to Sky Sports and South American expert Tim Vickery, Victor personally rejected the chance to play in England, leaving fans stunned and his future hanging in the balance. But here's where it gets really exciting. Whispers are growing that Manchester United might step into the race. After a rollercoaster weekend at Old Trafford, rumours have exploded that United could be on the lookout for another goalkeeper. With pressure mounting in the squad, the idea of Victor joining the Reds has set fans' imaginations on fire. Yes, it's still uncertain. He already turned down one English club, but when Manchester United comes knocking, everything changes. The power of Old Trafford, the global spotlight, and the chance to wear the famous red shirt could be too tempting for Victor to resist. Could this be the next shock transfer twist of the summer? Stay tuned, because this story is only just heating up.